I mean, I've always been a lesbian. I've never had a boyfriend. I've never given anybody a reason to think that I was otherwise. But I kind of knew the way I needed to act when I was in Jamaica, and it was never told to me like, but Chichi Mom, Bati Boy this. So you hear things, and I know, I would always make sure when I went down there, I had, a little boyfriend or somebody I could always have, I guess arm candy for anybody. But I don't know any, gay culture at all down there.
Peculiar as can be. Understand me now, understand me now, understand me now, understand me now.
Last year I spent 4 months in Ghana, where my dad is from, and homosexuality is illegal there. The law says no unnatural carnal knowledge or whatever. It's a remnant from the colonial administration. And I spent a big chunk of my family lives in Kumasi, which is a big city in the middle of the country. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, are you so excited to go visit your family? Isn't that gonna be so exciting?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I just kind of avoided them for 4 months.
So tell me about who you are. What's your ethnic background?
So I'm half Cuban, half Mexican. I spent my early childhood between Havana and Mexico City, and I grew up in Los Angeles.
I was born in Haiti, came here when I was 6 years old.
My mom is Filipino and my dad was German, and they met while they were working at the United Nations, so very international.
My mom is Italian and Cherokee, and my dad is Black.
My dad is from Haiti, and my mom is from Germany, Berlin. I'm like an Ashkenazi Jew, so my tribe's from Europe, and Sephardic means that you're from Morocco or Israel or somewhere in that region. Oh God, gayness in the Jewish community.
It's so interesting because in India there was never any laws about homosexuality until the British invaded, and then they set up something, and it just got repealed recently, in the last 5 years. If you had ever slept with someone of the same sex, you could be put in prison for 10 years. Now that's gone, and it's but it's interesting because I don't know, I find it really interesting that the people especially older people and your parents and your aunts and your uncles, you just can't tell them, you can't say anything like that. But the history of the culture is so open, and which I found so interesting that there's ancient texts, Vedic texts that have this in it, and it was something that was okay, but it was never marriage, but it was okay, and marriage meant something else. It didn't mean love. It meant almost like an alliance of families, and something to take care of people and pass on your name. And so I don't know. I just found that interesting that it's still like that. I have friends can't tell people, can't tell their parents.
How does homosexuality translate in your culture?
Right. Just growing up, and I think in my family, I similarly feel that it is accepted, more so, once again, being raised by my mother. She's always been there, and she supported, who I am and who I love. So generally speaking, as don't want to speak for the culture as a whole, it is something where it is not accepted.
So in Mexico, it seems to be more conservative in like northern Mexico, but you get into southern Mexico where there's a stronger indigenous community. There's a greater acceptance for gender non-conformativity. So you have the muxes of Oaxaca, which are kind of like a third sex person, and they're really celebrated and even desired. Like women want to have a muxe as a son or daughter. So it's actually, Oaxaca is actually one of the most queer-friendly places I've ever been. But you also have like a lot of religious conservatism in Mexico because of Catholicism. In the case of my mom, she's a born-again Christian.
I think it's generally like tabooed in any one of those, in Judaism. It's not, you can't, gays are like, no.
I have a cousin who is gay and who is Filipino from the Philippines, and so it's somewhat accepted there. My family is all Catholic, so it took them a while to be more accepting of her, but now they are, and her partner is gonna come visit the Philippines with her. But I asked while I was in the Philippines, I guess it was last year, what queer women do for jobs, and the answer I got was like, be a policewoman or a security guard.
Yeah, my family's super, super strict, and they're very religious. So they have a lot of issues with me being gay, mainly having to do with the fact that they're very religious. They're Christian, Baptist.
If I was in Jamaica, I can't even imagine myself being this way. And not to say that I came to a conclusion like, oh, I'm in, America, I'm in Philly, this is an okay state, I came with a contract or something like that. I didn't come to that conclusion, but I wonder, I guess, what adverse effects actually made me feel like it was comfortable enough, And thankfully I didn't have the horror story of my mom, there was a disowning thing, and you go live with this person, that person finds out, and then that person kicks you out, and you have to live with this person. But I never had, she came. I guess that conversation where you're my daughter, I respect you. I think that's what I wanted from anybody, even strangers, afterwards. Because I was like, I don't care if you don't like gay people, just you need to respect me.
American culture also has a stereotype about, and also European culture too, I would say, has a stereotype about lesbians being more butch or more masculine, having bigger muscles, always wearing plaid, having the short dyke cut, getting their periods on the same day. Kudos. Yeah.
It's actually really interesting the way that homosexuality is viewed in Mexico versus here. You have this pitcher and receiver kind of difference where if you're the one taking it up the ass, then you're not, then you're the one that's gay. But if you're the one that's, pitching, then you're not gay.
My coworker, he sent me this link online that he found where it was Ghana Western Prime Minister orders arrest of all homosexuals, and that was in the middle of August. So so there's oh, you're going home, oh, you're getting arrested. So it was I kind of felt like I didn't know whether to be Ghanaian or Ghanaian and Haitian or identify as queer. And it was just, it was I didn't want to have to inflict that kind of trauma on myself where I would have to be interacting with my family, have them ask do you have a boyfriend? Oh my God, because walking down the street in Ghana, guys are super aggressive. They'd be oh, be my wife. You are a lady. Be my wife. Do you have a boyfriend? It doesn't matter. I'm a Ghanaian man. It's fine. So there's a level of that with strangers, but as soon as you get that onto family, it just gets so much harder.
Homosexuality in Cuba has a really tumultuous history. There was a period where Castro sent all the homosexuals to camps, to labor camps, to try to, I guess, work the gay out of them. But it was, a lot of his rhetoric was saying that homosexuality is a bourgeois concept. So only bourgeois nations like the United States would have homosexuals, but not Cuba, because Cubans are really manly and, you know, really tough. And so, so that part of Cuba's history is really dark. But since then, a lot of progress has been made. Cuba has had gay pride parades, and there's a lot more acceptance. I think the oppression really lied with the government policy, but when you go to Cuba, as I've been, that's not the experience that I get. There's a lot more openness and acceptance.
I feel like it's hard, like, not being accepted by your family, because, like, there's this idea that, like, your family and, like, especially your parents' love is, like, you really believe that it's supposed to be unconditional, but, like, when you start coming out, like, when you start coming into yourself and when you, like, stop being ashamed of it, like, you realize that there are conditions on people's love, and especially, like, being first generation. Like your parents came here for a very specific reason, because they wanted something for you, and, like, those are sort of, like, the conditions that they hold you up to. And so, like, when you sort of, like, when you come out, or, like, when you go against that, it's sort of just, like, you know, like, there's, like not only is there, like, an estrangement, like, there's also, it also, like, feels like there's, like, I feel like there's, like, an element of guilt in it also.
I didn't choose to be queer, and even if I did, that's just, regardless, I didn't choose it. And let's say you had a choice to make me white because it would make things easier. Would you do that to me? Like, that's, what do you mean you don't want me to be gay because it's going to be hard for me? You didn't want me to not be black. Like, that's just ridiculous. It kills me about the way parents treat their gay children.